Hey, yo, we're back. We're playing The Ladder. Anyway, almost did a car crash. A big ol' oopsie. But here we go. No! No! Why do we have to do this again? God damn it! It begins routinely enough. I don't want to do the same shit over and over again, please. Immediately after I've read the news this morning, I called her. Offered to treat her to Oh my, wait a moment. Are we... We're the 24th, right? Oh! Isn't this... Oh. This is where she dies, quote unquote, or she's in the coma? Ooh, okay, never mind. I'll quit my groaning and moaning. Okay. Offered to treat her to free dinner to help her take her mind off things. Because knowing her... this might turn into another episode where she'll lock herself up in her room. It doesn't happen frequently. She's grown sensible that much, at least, but I might as well prevent it before we go down that road. The last time it did, less than 5 years ago, after the incident at Devlin Court, it took Ashton, of all people, to coax her out of her sulk. She isn't the one responsible for Miss Cooper's death, but this will weigh on her regardless. After all, that woman was her mentor. It was only for a brief period years ago, and they never worked together again after, but she still feels like she owes the woman a lot to this day. To my relief, she agreed, even promised she'll meet me at St. Goretti's right after my classes. Though it's a bit odd of her to ask me to stay safe before suddenly cutting off our talk. Everything's gone swimmingly. What isn't part of our plan is her failing to turn up, leaving me waiting for hours.
Where the bloody hell is she?
4 hours from the time we agreed on, and still counting. Yet I received not a single call or text from her. This after I took the courtesy and effort of sending her a message, telling her where I'm heading to, and when I had to leave the school. She could have done that too, at least, and saved me a trouble of waiting.
She can be such a child sometimes.
Girl, you're gonna eat your words in a couple minutes.
I swear, if she locked herself up in that room, she's not going to hear the end of this.
Glancing at my watch only stirs up my temper further. Almost closing time now, with the exception of a few still in line for some late night coffee or snack, or those who are simply finishing their food. The small crowd inside is starting to thin out. Half of the normally bustling place is now empty, and the speakers have stopped playing music seconds ago. Still, I wish they kept it going longer for a few minutes. I could do with some relaxing music right now. Especially with the pitying look the manager and the one manning the cashier are giving me once I hit my second hour of waiting here. The former even offered me another cup for free after I drank through my second one earlier. Naturally, I appreciate the gesture. The woman has been nothing but kind to us in the time Isabella and I happened to catch her here. This time, however, they probably think my date stood me up or something, even if the reality falls far from it. Extremely far. Honestly, this is more like waiting for your child after school, if there's any comparison to make. Although, if it were Ashton, if we were to go on a date, I doubt he'd ever do this. He may be an embarrassing friend to have for Zachary and Isabella, and had his odd moments, but he's definitely a reliable guy. Probably the only one I've ever had the chance of knowing this long, except for Zachary.
If he won't make it, I'm sure he'll at least have the decency to inform me beforehand.
Not that I'll ever have the courage to ask him, or anything of that sort happening anytime soon. I haven't even forgotten my poor attempt at confessing back in secondary. I wrote a short letter for him then, only for it to end up unread and hidden away someplace. I already lost it. In fact, after I moved out from home, along with that diary I used to religiously write on. But all of that's irrelevant and wholly different matter from this. Besides, it's getting late. It's already quite obvious that Isabella has no plans of ever showing up tonight, and if she thinks she's going to get away with pulling such a stunt on me, she's got another thing coming for her. When I call her this morning, I genuinely believe she's better than the childish part of her, but this simply proves things otherwise, doesn't it? She should be thankful. It's only because of my own stubbornness and good faith in her that I'd stayed here beyond the bounds of what my own patience allows me.
And look where that got me.
I might as well leave now, too. Considering... Oh, no. Ooh. Considering the loud blaring sirens passing by outside, getting home tonight might take longer. Probably an accident. They rarely happen here in Luxbourne, but not entirely unheard of. Most of the time, it just results in heavy traffic and a few roads being temporarily closed. Judging from the direction the police mobiles headed to and from where an ambulance came from earlier, it's in the same route I take.
Joy of joys.
Without delaying, I gather my things in my bag, shoot a quick thanks to the cafe's personnel for allowing me to stay this long, and hastily leave the place. Hopefully, I'm not late, and this side of the streets aren't too congested yet. However, no 2 steps out, my mobile rings, all of a sudden, effectively stopping me in my tracks. I answer without checking the screen, fully expecting to hear Isabella's strings of apologies and excuses. A series of reprimands is already on the tip of my tongue. Friends or not, what she did is simply unacceptable. She needs to learn. She's 26, for goodness sake.
Isabella! I've been waiting for hours! Where the bloody fucking hell are
Oh,
you?
shit!
We agreed on a time, didn't we? This isn't funny, you know?
Rebecca is fucking pissed. But the one that responds on the other end isn't her voice. This one is deeper, almost out of breath as it talks in a bit of a hurried tone.
Rebecca, it's me.
Oh, Ashton. Ash, why are you calling me so suddenly? Do you need something?
Where are you right now? Salem Well?
No, but I'm about to head home. I was supposed to meet with Isabella after school. She never showed up, though. Why?
Ashton doesn't immediately answer, however. In place of his reply, I find myself focusing instead on the noise coming from his side. People shouting orders from afar, a few curses flying off and about, and someone yelling at another poor bloke. There's also the low murmur of what appears to be a small group of people around him. Farther back, it strains my ears, is the din of car horns and vehicles driving past. He must have been assigned to another case, called to another crime scene in the middle of the night at last. At that, he'll probably end up spending time there until the investigation lasts, likely until tomorrow, without even getting any shut-eye or short rest. My lips press tight at that, but I don't say anything. Any attempt to call him out on it before Did you just say fuck you? Did you hear that? Fuck you. Before it has resulted in an argument. The best I could do at the minute is keep these opinions to myself, no matter how much I disapprove of it, even if I'm not the only one who shares the same opinion. Even Zachary and Isabella has something to say about it. I'm simply the most vocal out of the 3 of us. That aside, none of these explain why he's calling me in the middle of work.
Ash, are you still there? I'll be home soon. If this'll take time, just call my landline number. Give me about half an hour. I should be able to find a quicker route home, hopefully.
No, Becca, don't go home yet.
It's going to get late if I don't leave now, Ash. There seems to have been an accident along the route I take, too. I'm not sure, but I saw a couple of police mobiles rushing past a few minutes ago. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, do you?
Becca, about that. I need you to get yourself to the hospital.
Hospital? Right now? Why?
A hollow feeling suddenly creeps down to my stomach despite having eaten dinner mere minutes ago. Ashton's hesitation doesn't help either. Whatever his reasons for calling, it can only be taken unpleasant based solely on his tone.
Ash, is there a problem? Wait, it isn't you, is it? Did you get hurt or something? I told you to never make a joke about that. Please tell me this isn't one of those...
It's not for me. Calm down, Becca.
Well, why the sudden need for a hospital visit then? I sure as hell am not sick. Who's it for?
Silence again. If this dilly-dallying is simply his reluctance, or he's just carefully measuring the weight of his next words, I can't tell. For all his good looks, he can be brutally blunt, even without putting a concerted effort onto it. Within our small circle, unless we really have no other choice, no one ever trusts him with the task of delivering the bad news. And this is one, isn't it? Who put him up to this? The fact that he's dragging it out like this only increases my apprehension.
Ashton, if you're just going to hum and haw for the next 5 minutes, we're better off...
It's Isabella.
Come again?
Isabella. Scaredy cat. She's... Okay, listen up. You didn't hear this from me, and you're not the one who should have heard it first, but someone has to be there with her, and I can't.
Hold on. What exactly happened? I was just talking to her this morning. Now you're telling me she somehow ended up in a hospital?
Yeah, that accident you mentioned earlier. It's
Bloody hell, Ashton, out with it!
just a few hours ago, a car ran her over while she was crossing the street. I can't give the details yet. We're still checking on the cams, but the driver fled afterwards. She was left bleeding in the road.
All at once, as though the wind has been knocked out from me, and remembering how to breathe becomes a whole lot different endeavor altogether. My hand makes it over my mouth as I fight the tremors that gradually sweep over me. Little by little, the memories of the last few hours rush back to me, her asking me to keep safe, my calls going unanswered for long periods of time, and the passing wails of an ambulance.
She was still breathing when the paramedics arrived, but I won't lie. Her condition's critical. Concussion, multiple fractures, and internal bleeding. They said she lost so much blood, and it'll be a miracle if she makes it through the night. Damn it, when I find the bastard who did this.
What about Zach? Zachary, does he know already? Shouldn't we tell him about this too?
No, not yet. Don't tell him anything yet. Let's just keep the circle small for now. I don't want to alarm him.
But he's also like one of your best friends? What the fuck?
I'll tell him myself tomorrow, but I need you to hurry to the hospital. Can you do that for me? You're the only one I can trust with this right now.
Yeah, I'll be there. No problem. Don't worry about it.
All right, okay. That's one problem off the list. Thanks, Becca. I'll keep you updated with how things are on my side. I need to go.
He ends the call abruptly, without so much as a goodbye or a single reassurance everything will be okay. He doesn't know, none of us knows, and we can only hope, amidst the fading sirens in the distance, like the very life quickly slipping away in front of us. When my body finally moves despite trembling hands and knees threatening to buckle at any time, it's only the single-minded desperation to reach her that pushes me. Please, please hang in there. The whole ward is almost too quiet when I arrive. No paramedics or nurses zooming past, no doctors in scrubs blaring out orders, or even patients moaning and whimpering in the triaging? How do you pronounce that? Triaging area? Huh. She's already been taken to the trauma room according to the overhead announcements.
Attention please. Adult Tier 1 trauma alert. Please respond to the trauma center, shock room 4.
None of this is what I'm expecting. The lack of chaos. With the air so calm and unstirring, in spite of what's taking place beyond this waiting room, so unlike what they often just depict in the telly. Although it'd be foolish of me to believe any of those shows. There may be some degree of accuracy in it, true, but it's all often done for the sake of entertainment and stirring up people's emotions. Yet, despite knowing that, I still crave for the noise, the commotion, the worried voices, or even the shouting. Anything, whatever that will temporarily take the edge off of my nerves. Instead, much like everything today, all I have when I... Oh my god. Keep it together. All I get to have when a trauma nurse finally shows up is an impassive declaration of, "She's in critical condition, ma'am." Nothing I've not heard from Ashton's before. Oh, he doesn't spare me another word, not even a single explanation of what they're doing to Isabella. And the next minute, I'm being entrusted with her belongings, everything now smeared and reeking of fresh blood. Afterwards, it's back to silence again, longer this time, with only glass doors occasionally whizzing as well, the nearly wooden voice over the hospital intercom for company.
Paging Dr. Nicholas Vogel to Lord William Ward. Shock room 4. Please report to Trauma Center, shock room 4 stat. Dr. Vogel, please.
But who am I to demand for more, when in some part of his bloody emergency ward, Isabella's fighting for her life? In the time, no matter what my complaints are, what I want to hear or see, they're all useless here. I'm useless here.
Dr. Vogel, please report to the Trauma Center, shock room 4 stat.
All I can do is sit down and wait, go through every small motion to keep myself occupied, prevent my mind from thinking of a very ugly scenario this might lead to. Because as stubborn, annoying, or childish I regard her in time and time again, I
don't want to lose a friend to this.
Not in this manner. What kind of manner do you want to lose her in? And it's that thought I hold firmly to. As the hours go by, as the halls grow quieter and everything around me turns dimmer, bleaker, it's what I cling on to, along with the small plea of the heart at the heart of it. A muted prayer, desperate and earnest all at once.
I've never been the religious kind. I don't think I ever will identify as one. But If there's some other force, something, someone out there who can hear, please, please listen to me just this once.
Please don't take her away. Before long, sleep claims me, fraught with lasting images of blood, and a single voice on a vein of struggle with death. Thus the waiting game begins. The following morning arrives like any other. God. Does anybody smell that? Is that the fresh smell of oranges? The following morning arrives like any other day, before it bright and clear. As if the world hasn't completely tilted out of focus the night before, like nothing ever happened. It's a good day, by common standards, albeit one I can't fully appreciate. Maybe I would have if it isn't in the hospital's glaring fluorescence that greeted me first, or my eyes still aren't rough with sleep, or I've chosen a more comfortable place to doze off. Even better, if I've gotten a more pleasant news than what I've received after waiting for hours on end. But times like these, you simply take what you can get. But it could have been worse. We could have easily lost her. The doctors and nurses said so. But by some bullheaded miracle, we didn't. What do you know? She actually found some use for her stubbornness. If she survives this, it seems this will be the last time I rail on her about that. I might have saved her after all. They had to induce coma, yes. It may not be what we wanted, but it sure as hell isn't the end for her, and that's enough. That's good enough. We can work from here. At least like this, we know, in her own little way, Isabella's still fighting, and hoping isn't such a futile thing for us. Zachary thinks so. Unlike me, he never falters. Not even once since he arrived and joined me in my vigil. Even when uncertainty starts to have its sway on me, all he has for me are reassurances and fresh oranges.
You did the right thing, Rebecca.
You don't know that. What if she doesn't want this? Do you see all of these? Wires and tubes and bandages everywhere. She's barely herself, clinging to dear life as it is. She can't even hear us. Doesn't even know there are people here worried sick for her.
The point is she's still here. Don't beat yourself up over what ifs. This ain't over for her, alright? I've seen people recover from even worse. Have some faith in her.
I do have faith in her.
You know what? I think this is just a lack of sleep talking. You been here since when? Last night? Go get some rest, Miss Gales.
But Isabella's...
I'll take care of her, don't you worry. We can do shifts if you want, but go home first. We'll talk about that later when you ain't looking like you're about to fall apart. If you keep going like this, you're the one who'll end up here next.
I don't know if it's the optimism in his tone that did it. But at his words, regardless of the mood around us, some of the exhaustion finally lifts enough for a soft chuckle to slip out from me. How odd. Out of all people, Zachary's the last person I ever expect to get a pick-me-up from. After all, we've never been particularly close. At best, we're good friends, we talk, we laugh, when the situation calls for it, but admittedly, none of those will ever occur if Ashton or Isabella aren't here. It's not entirely uncomfortable, but awkward nevertheless. We simply can't seem to find something to talk about without those two to drive the conversation. Still, here he is, in spite of the gap or whatever dark cloud hanging above his head lately. I can't possibly reject his offer knowing that, can I?
This feels like a conversation I had with Isabella a few days ago. I said the exact same thing to her.
God, you remember when I thought that Isabella was just gonna be like the main character forever and nothing bad was gonna happen to her because she's the main character? God, it's been so long.
Then maybe it's a sign you should rest. Let me take over from now.
Maybe. But I'll keep that in mind. Are you sure you'll be fine alone? I'll come back this evening. So if you need anything picked up, I can get it for you.
Nah, no problem on that front. Besides, if I do need something, my apartment's just a few blocks away. Skipping a hop, that's all I need. Focus on getting some sleep. Let me take care of this for a few hours. Do it for everyone's sake,
We'll do. Thanks, Zachary. If something changes with her, promise me you'll call.
You'll be the first one to know, ma'am. Well, if it comes to that. I hope the news I bring will be better than the one we got this morning. Crazy thing having to wake up to this.
I hope so too. I'll see you later.
I give him a smile before leaving. Frankly, it's weak and a half-hearted attempt at encouragement, and whatever it's intended to be for me or for him, I don't linger over it. At the end of the day, we both need any little strength we can muster and extend between us, in whatever form they may choose to come, whether it be little smiles or freshly peeled oranges. The door closes behind me with a soft click, at last muffling the ceaseless beeping from the machines. But I know this isn't the last time I'll be hearing those. And with that, we'll end the episode. I'm glad that I got to talk about oranges just one last time. Man, that's a trip down memory lane. God. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And goodbye.